beautiful people, great Biafrans, wherever you are on the face of this very planet. We welcome you to another exciting edition of Radio Biafra Address from here, our offices and studios in London, on this very day, Saturday, the 2nd day of February, in the year of the Most High Elohim 2019, with the time now standing at precisely quarter past the hour of 5 p.m. here, the same number of minutes past the top of the hour in Biafra land, and wherever you are domiciled around the world, I do welcome you, and I thank each and every one of you for joining us. If this is your very first time, please allow me to suggest that you also inform those around you. Tell them that this is Radio Biafra. We are live and we are direct. We are doing all we can and we shall continue to do so. Everything within our might and our power to ensure the absolute and unadulterated restoration of the sovereignty of the Republic of Biafra without any equivocation, without any prevarication. We are not retreating, we are not surrendering, regardless of the challenges that we face, regardless of the treachery and the sabotage. Our mission is noble, our journey divine. Until Biafra is restored, everything else is meaningless. Therefore, you must join me this evening to tell those who are around you that the 16th of February is a date that will go down in history. A day that our fortitude will put to the test. A day that our resolve will be tested by our enemies, both without and within. But I am absolutely confident, supremely assured that we shall triumph. We shall sit at home and Biafra shall come. I welcome you once again. My name is Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, and by the grace of the Most High, I shall continue to serve the wonderful people of Biafra all the days of my life. We must proceed this evening. Our deputy is here with me, but very shortly he will be joining us. But before then, we must pray. We must call upon the Most High Elohim. We must call upon Chukwukikabiama to take charge of these very proceedings, because without him we are nothing. There ought to be confirmation from far and wide. All our systems should be ready to go in Biafra land. You know how to receive Radio Biafra. Go to www.radiobiafra.co. I repeat, www.radiobiafra.co. You can also get us via Facebook. We are streaming on all sorts of platforms. All you need to do is to inquire. Once you do so, you will and should be able to join us. We must pray before we proceed, because, as I said earlier, it is the right thing to do. We must give praise to Elohim. We must thank Chukwukikabiam. I'm inspired this very evening by the preaching that somebody did earlier this morning on social media about what happened when the chosen ones of Israel were about to leave the land of Egypt. Because there are many detractors, there are many slave merchants, there are those who do not wish us to be free, there are those working with the enemies to subvert the will of Chukwukikabiama upon our lives. We cannot allow them to succeed because they are from darkness. We represent the light because we are the children of light. We have come that this very truth may be spoken. We have come that it can and must be spoken. We must pray. It is not unto us, O Elohim, Chukwokika Biama, but unto thee. Unto thy name do we give glory this very day, for thy mercy and for thy truth's sake. They ask us, where is Chukwokika Biama that we call upon all the time? Why are terrible things happening to the children of the Most High? Why have they brought evil upon the land of Biafra? All these nations are asking us these questions, saying they are subjugating us, they have enslaved us. Who is going to save us? But the God that we worship, Elohim Adonai El Shaddai, Chineke Nankebinimigwe, he is in the heavens. He does as he pleases. Because they worship flesh, they worship idol, they worship things born of a woman. Their idols are made of silver and gold and of ceramic works. They are the works of the hands of men. They have mouths, but they cannot speak. They have eyes, but they cannot see. They have ears, but they hear not. They have noses, but they cannot breathe. Because they make them like unto those that created them. Men trust in idols, but this very house of Biafra trust in the Most High Elohim. He is our help and our shield. This very house of Eri, this very house of Manasseh and Ephraim, for we trust in the Most High, for he is our help and our Redeemer. For we fear the Lord because we trust in him. He is our help and our shield. We do not trust in any man. We do not trust in any electoral process. We do not believe that there is anything any man can do for us. It's only Elohim that we are mindful of, that will bless us. He will bless this house of Biafra. Only him will bless the house of Israel. For he will bless those of us who fear him, both small and great. The Lord shall increase us abundantly beyond the wildest of our dreams, and also shall our children and their children's children. For we are blessed of the Creator of the heavens and the earth. The heavens will testify that we belong to Chukwokika Biama. And this very earth, the land of Biafra, that sacred land for the inheritance of those that believe in him. The dead shall praise not the Elohim, neither any that go down in silence. If you allow our enemies to overwhelm us, if you allow them to arrest and to kill, to torture, to pillage and to decimate, who is going to worship your holy name in the land of Biafra? For we must praise thee eternally, for we must worship thee on the evening of this very holy Shabbat that you have made, that your name may be exalted and praised, adored and worshipped, now and forevermore, we pray. Ise, Ise, Ise. I welcome those of you joining us for the very first time. This is Radio Biafra, listened to across the entire 24 time zones of this very world. Everybody listens to Radio Biafra. I believe round about this very time, in the blessed land of Biafra, traffic is at a standstill. There is little or no vehicular or human movement. Everybody is listening rapturously to their device, be it on any of the social media platforms where we are simulcasting, or via Radio Biafra 102.1 CHK, of course, across the entirety of Biafra land. I welcome you this evening to this, my very first address from London, where you all know I left nearly 4 years ago to return to the Holy Land of Biafra when I was unceremoniously and illegally arrested and incarcerated. Released, I hasten to add, not convicted of any crime because we did nothing wrong. Since then, we have been suffering. Our enemies have been gathering in their strength and in their numbers. They have recruited many of you who are of feeble mind and of very weak faith. Some of you into politics have they easily overwhelmed with their flimsy logic and vacuous interpretation of what freedom is all about. But here, we are unmistakable in our pursuit. We know what we want. We are pursuing it, and Biafra is going to come because there is nothing anybody can do about it. I will not give you my usual address. I will classify this as a very necessary lecture that those who before now have been entertaining double minds, those who before now do not quite appreciate what boycott means, those who before now cannot see the essence and the importance of what we are doing. This very program is dedicated to you all, that we may explain in greater detail why boycott is absolutely necessary for us to accomplish what we are looking for. I don't like fair weather friends. When we started on this very important journey to restore Biafra, it was made abundantly clear that the road will be very rough, very bumpy, and very difficult, but we are going to stay the course. As you all know, some has fallen by the wayside. They cannot handle it. They fell from grace. Has it stopped us? The answer is no. We continue to march relentlessly and resolutely towards the liberation of the Holy Land of Biafra. We must remain faithful. No matter what happens, we must be on the right track. We don't change with the gale of the wind. We don't change direction. We are as constant as the northern star. We do not alter course. Neither I nor IPOB invented the notion of boycott of elections as a tool of civil disobedience. Boycotting of elections is as old as any civilization that is built on institutional injustice everywhere in the world, including this hallowed land of Britain. As I don't fail to remind you all the time, England, in my opinion, remains the most civilized piece of territory in the whole earth. I make no apologies about it. Even here in England, at one point in their history, there was a revolution. In the United States of America, there was a revolution. In France, there was a revolution. In Russia, there was a revolution. Right across the length and breadth of civilized nations of the world, at one point or the other, they have experienced popular uprising. Even Arab nations to a limited extent. The same cannot be said of Black Africa. Therefore, when you think about Biafra, I want you to contextualize the magnitude of what we are trying to accomplish. What we are doing hasn't been done anywhere in Africa before. That is why I keep saying, before us, there was none like us. Even now we are here. They try to imitate, they try to copy, they cannot be like us. And after we are gone, some of you will pray we had lived forever. Because we are bringing light where once there was darkness. People are blind. Blinded by ignorance and held captive by hunger, savagery, and poverty. I did not invent boycott of elections. Awolowo boycotted elections. Mazi Ojike advocated for boycott of all boycottables. Therefore, we are not alone in this, but we must remain very, very strong and resolute. As long as there is injustice within the land, we will boycott elections. Understand this very clearly. Our conditions are very clear. If you want us to participate in any elections in the zoo called Nigeria, the damnable zoological republic, as they have proven time and time again, that even a zoo is a better place than Nigeria, they know what to do. And until they do that, we must remain very strong and focused. Very, very determined, strong and focused. People fall by the wayside. That is the hallmark of black African people. They are not strong enough mentally. They are not strong. Why do you think only blacks, we are considered foolish enough to be converted into domestic animals all over the world as slaves? Because we do not hold on tenaciously to anything that we believe in. We must remain strong. Even if IPOB ends up with only 100 men, which I'm looking for, Biafra must be restored. That is your business. We know where we stand. We don't alter course. We do not change. Our enemies, they know what to do. Therefore, this evening and always, we should all remain determined in our resolve not to participate in election in the zoo that would further entrench the system of impoverishment and the quantum, I would say, institutional injustices levied against Biafrans in the geographical damnation called Nigeria. Do you know how many people are dying at Obinze prisons every blessed day? Do you know how many roadblocks there are? Do you know there are kidnappings going on, unreported, by the Nigerian army and DSS all over Biafra land? Do you know that the primary concern of the Fulani slaves, the Quislings that call themselves your leaders in Abuja and in Lagos, they live in Abuja and they live in Lagos. Do you know what their primary concern is? Is who will make their children ministers. That is their concern. They can come and kill each and every one of us. They don't give a damn. If we don't care about our survival and that of our unborn children, then we are finished as a race. Everybody you see, from Ohanese to your governors, the people you have today parading themselves as one leader or the other are errand boys from the Fulani. It is very clear for all of you to see. You saw the disgraceful behavior of Umahi. You saw the disgraceful behavior of Okezi Pazo. When Jubril came, this is Jubril, somebody from Sudan, not even a Nigerian. You saw the way they were behaving. You all saw it. Nobody talks about endorsing their own children. They're always busy endorsing outsiders. That is to tell you that they are cursed. And if you allow that curse to afflict you, then that is your business. The same nonsense you're experiencing today, our fathers encountered during the time of Nnamdi Kanu, if you have forgotten. Some of you may have forgotten. Ask your father and your grandfathers, please, if you may, or your uncles, or your aunts, to tell you the same thing happening now. Go out and vote. Go out and vote. Nnamdi Kanu did the same thing. Go out and vote for NCNC. It shall be well. We are in Kanu. We are in Jos. We are in Medugri. We are in Sokoto. We have businesses. We are in Lagos. The same rubbish. For how many years? Has there been any improvement in our lives? The answer is no. We have lost nearly 5 million people and counting till this very day. Nobody gives a damn about us. If we don't care about ourselves, nobody's going to care about us. It's as simple as that. To vote in the zoo is to endorse the fraudulent 1999 Constitution. Most of you don't understand the logic behind this election boycott for the simple reason that some of you have been denied the privilege of studying history in your schools. You don't understand what happens to a race that keeps repeating the mistakes of the past. The same thing is about to happen to us if we don't take time and correct it now. Nnamdi Azikiwe is no longer with us. Dr. Azikiwe, he's passed on. He fought very vigorously for one Nigeria. Where are we today? Dr. Alex Ekwueme served one Nigeria very, very well. For some of you who do not know, or some of you shouting, articulate up and down the place. Some of you do not quite understand that the person responsible for the failure of Ekwueme in Jos in 1999 PDP convention that Ekwueme himself actually founded was Atiku. Some of you don't know this. Some of you sometimes also argue very foolishly that a boycott of elections means a vote for the Sudanese. The Miyetti Allah Fulani Headsmen Party, that is APC. How mistaken you are. If we all boycott these very elections, do you know there are international observers coming? Confirmed. Do you know what their report will say when the world will ask them, EU for instance, and United States of America? They will tell them that we went to observe a presidential election in Nigeria, but apparently those of them in the East did not vote. The reason why they did not vote was because they wanted or they asked to be given their own separate homeland. Because that very day, incidentally, is also our referendum. I want our people to consider the long term, not the short term. To try to foresee what will become of us in the future should we continue in the damnation that is one Nigeria. These are the only things I'm asking you to consider this very evening. Therefore, this same fraudulent 1999 constitution that Bola Ahmed Tinubu rejected initially, that many other people, including Wole Soyinka, everybody in unison, the entire Nadeko structure decided to reject the Abdul Salami Abubakar Sharia 1999 constitution. The same thing happening now was what happened then. Some people got up, some politicians said, oh, don't worry, when we get in, we'll change it. Oh, don't worry, just vote first. Let's get rid of the military first. That was what they said. Have you forgotten? Let's get rid of the, oh no, when the civilians come in, they will try and fix it. Have they fixed it? The answer is no. That same satanic constitution is what is guiding everybody till today. It has now become the norm. It has now become their own Quran and their own Bible. Nobody is talking about changing it anymore. Whereas, had Nadeko in 1999 said no to that constitution, they would have maybe perhaps waited another year or two to get a proper constitution that reflects the complexities and the aspirations of your average Nigerian. But because they were in a hurry, as some of you are in a hurry today, oh, let's get rid of Jubril and put in Atiku and Obi, things will be better. It won't be any better. Some of you have forgotten that not too long ago, a man named Belechukwu Azikiwe was there as the president. Not even Second Niger Bridge was built. I don't know where your senses have gone to. Some of you don't even reason more than a week back. I am asking you to cast your minds back. Go and do your research about 1999 and what became of the opposition to the 1999 constitution by Nadeko. It fizzled off. It went away. Typical black African people. Nobody sits down to consider the consequences of their immediate action or how it might impact the people tomorrow, or next week, or next month, or next year, or the years ahead to come. If anybody said to Nnamdi Azikiwe that when he was prancing all over the place, talking about one Africa, one Nigeria, that would have meant enslaving his own people in perpetuity, he won't believe it. But look at us today. But when Zeke was running all over the place and other people talking about one Nigeria, let's build it, let's make Nigeria beautiful, as the giant of Africa, he did not know that contained within his own speech was a death sentence for his people. Let's leave them to go. Let Opito go. Let Atiku go. It sounds so sweet. But in reality and in practical terms, you and I know that the Fulani cabal will not allow any meaningful devolution of power in Nigeria. You know that and I know that. None of you is talking about stopping the millions of Alamajiri flooding in from Niger Republic, which they have just confirmed the other day, by the way. All you want to do is to vote. But when you go and finish voting and they write 15 million votes for Jubril from Kanu and Katsina alone, what are you going to do? You will go to court. Oh, but don't forget, they have removed the very neutral Onogen and put in a Sharia judge. They appoint the tribunal chairman. They do whatever they like. I seriously don't see how we could possibly overcome them at the polls. It is not just possible. But let's continue. Everybody knows that the 1999 constitution is skewed in favor of the caliphate and against Biafrans and the other indigenous communities in Nigeria, especially the south of the Benue River. Everybody knows that. But the question is, what are you doing to reverse that very trend? What are you doing to stop that from happening in the future? The answer is nothing. By voting, all you're trying to do is to perpetuate the injustices and the misery against our people contained in the 1999 Constitution. Because if you want to amend it, they'll say, no, it's a no-go area. They have inbuilt majority. So you can never change anything. Forget all the nonsense about who will restructure, who will devolve power. It's rubbish and they cannot do it. Fulani will say no. And what are you going to do? Nothing. They removed Onogen. What did you do? Nothing. They removed our brother from Bayelsa, who was appointed, who incidentally was appointed as the DSS Director General. What happened? Nothing. They came to our town at Mpo and massacred us. What happened? Nothing. Is the river still there? It's not been revisited. Anywhere we go to, they kill us. They say, oh, don't worry, we'll set up an inquiry, panel of inquiry. Nothing comes of it. Nothing ever comes of it. If some of you don't reason all these events through, I do. It tells me one thing, that the way we reason as black people is fundamentally flawed. The only thing we see in front of us is this very shiny gold. Let's go and vote. I know some of you will sell your PVCs for maybe 5 or 10,000 naira, depending on where you are. And then the next day you will have the temerity to come out, stand up and complain about bad roads, no schools, you're suffering, the price of everything is going up. But you don't know that you are directly contributing to your own suffering by going out to vote. In an election where the outcome is already determined, heads or tails, Fulani will win. Or you can't see it, you're too blind. Rather than asking us to go and vote out Jubril at the ballot box, why don't you try something that every nation has tried in the world and has worked for them, which is a popular revolution? Say no to them. We've had enough. Enough is enough. Believe you me, things will change overnight. The problem there is the Constitution. Forget all the nonsense. Oh, you elect senators and rubbish. Tell me the senator that will stand up and make any radical proposals. They will simply tell the IG, you've seen what's the name of that guy from Kogi? They've been dragging all over the place. Do you know Malai? There is no immunity even for the senators. So if they're asking you to go to the Senate and make your points known, as if they're foolish. Once you make your points known, they open up a corruption inquiry against you. They ask you to go to CCT to declare your assets, and then from there, they invite the IG of police to be chasing you all over the place. And yours is finished. I keep asking myself, why is it that black people can never reason? When I say this, people in America, they complain. They say, oh, the world is listening. Don't disparage black people. Don't castigate them. But I'm only telling you the truth. Why is it that we cannot? After all, there is no civilized black country anywhere in the world. That is the truth. There is no civilized black country anywhere on this planet. Even the South Africa that whites built, we are running it down, aren't we? That's all we are good at doing. Running things down. We never think critically and properly. It's only about the need of the stomach today. I have said to those pressuring me to call off this very boycott that you know what to do. Sign that document for me. They all have it. Sign it for me, then I'll call it off. And they know what the document contains. The 1999 Constitution is the problem. How you get rid of it is to revolt against the Constitution. Don't revolt against any individual. It's against the institution itself. That institution is the 1999 Constitution. Do away with it, and your lives will be a lot more better. Can you see the effrontery in APC promising Yoruba people the presidency in 2023? They have excluded other people. Other ethnicities don't matter anymore. It's only about the alliance between the Yoruba Muslim and the core Arewa Caliphate. That's all that matters. After all, the Yoruba Muslims control the Yoruba media. The Arewa North, they control the levers of power. So that's it. All we need to do, those of us from Biafra, is to keep begging. Oh, allow us in. Make us VP. Why don't you give us IG of police? Oh, if that wouldn't work, give us AIG instead. Begging like a bunch of fools. Sit at home on the 16th of February and you see that things will change for the better. Forget all the doomsday predictions. They will do this never. The world will know we are united in pursuit of one simple goal. The emancipation of the land of Biafra. No part of Africa is free. Biafra will represent the beginning of hope for the entirety of black man all over the world. Not just in Africa, but all over the world. And they know this. They know this very, very well. The fraudulent constitution of the zoo, which some of you that are asking you to go and vote for, oh, forget everything. We must get... Who told you you're getting rid of anything? Oh, you got rid of Abdul Salami Abubakar in 1999. Did anything change? The answer is no. It's gotten worse. You ended up electing a man who was not only sickly, but was unqualified for the position, a man who actually overthrew a democratically elected government. Some idiots talk about anti-corruption fight as if it is a fight for the military, as if only one person can do it. Once you structure your laws to eliminate corruption, there will be no corruption. If you make a law saying that no president should have access to the national reserves, you stop the looting of the treasury. They won't go there. If you say no permanent secretary should have access to the account of the state, nobody will go there. We're in the UK. I'm in the UK right now. So you're telling me that Theresa May can call up the governor of the Bank of England and tell him, oh, I want a few gold bars, bring it to Downing Street, and they will do it. She won't even try it. She'll go to jail. But you people, you elect somebody who is a stark illiterate, now replaced by an impostor from Sudan. And you gave him all these powers. When they came after me, you said nothing. Now they're coming after you, one after the other. So your common sense never told you that when they go after people you think are your enemies, you must also defend them, because you don't know if they're going to come after you. Is that not common sense? So why do you think that white people don't like injustice? Because they know if they allow this injustice to continue, one day it will affect them as well. But a black person never reasons that way. We've spent years and years and years abroad studying, but we ended up learning nothing. I love you all. That's why I'm telling you this evening. Sometimes I speak and people think I hate. I don't hate you, no. I'm just telling you the truth. The fraudulent constitution is the precursor to the fraudulent elections that will take place on February 16th. That day is our referendum day. We are boycotting it. If you want the constitution to fall, then you must stand on the side of freedom. Do not vote. Because what you're voting for will suppress your freedom. It will not promote your progress. It will only retard it. And this same constitution you're voting for on the 16th is the source of much unhappiness in the land. It is time for our people to learn from the experiences of those amongst us who have slaved for the zoo, especially in the present government. Participating in the previous elections have not benefited us. So what makes you think that this very one on February 16th will? Can't you see how trapped and unhappy Amechi is? Remember Chinika Amechi? They spent reverse money electing a dictator. How about Obon Nayono? Do you hear about him anymore? How about Honogen? How about Mefor? How about Kachiku? That changed his Igbo name. Onye Kachuku to Kachiku. So they can give him an appointment in NMPC because of money. You deny your heritage. You deny where you come from. You deny your people. And you're walking about claiming you're educated and you're an intellectual. How shameful and how sad. Look at all of them. Look at all of these very people. And tell me if any of them is happy. And the answer is no. Look in a system that continues to reel out injustices and humiliation to their own people while they feel powerless to even speak out against it. They say they are leaders. Oh, we Igbo leaders. And we ask them, where were you during the Mefor massacre? Where were you during the National High School massacre in Aba? That OKC was supervised. Or when they invaded my house and killed 28 of my men. Where were all of you? Do you know the meaning of a leader? Do you know what it means? Is IPOB armed? Do we have guns? Do we have weapons? Have we killed anyone? The answer is no. It's just random of some, to tell you how crazy Nigeria is and Nigerians. And why I keep saying all the time that that the way that we blacks reason makes me wonder, sincerely speaking, if it was actually God in heaven that made other people that created us. And I'll tell you why. Go to Google and you'll find out that hunters in Borno State have been recruited to fight Boko Haram. Hunters. To fight Boko Haram, an armed terror insurgency group. It's a terrorist group. Whereas in Biafra land where there is no war, battalion upon battalion are being deployed on the streets to kidnap and to kill people. If you go to whoever is in charge of Obi's barracks in Owerri, they arrested somebody in Aba and took him there. He was there from Monday to Wednesday of this very week. He said within that period, 12 people died in their custody. They just see you on the street and they kidnap you. And they take you to Obinze. And they leave you there to die. Some they stop at their useless checkpoints. That is the country you want to go and vote again in. Ask yourself, 1999 there was voting. What happened? 2003, if I'm not mistaken, there was vote again. What happened? 2007, I think it was. What happened? 2011, what happened? You've been voting all this while, seemingly good people. By this time, 4 years ago, it was get rid of Jonathan, there's corruption, people deceiving people. What happened? Now you've come again with your articulate. The same rubbish. The same nonsense. The problem that we have is that we don't interrogate the source of the problem. Question the source of the problem and you cure it. You will cure it. Both the constitution of the zoo and the institutions must fall on the 16th because they suppress our people. It is the source of much unhappiness. This very election will once again give you an executive president in maybe Jubril from Sudan or Atiku, who will simply do as he wishes because the constitution has given his part of Nigeria the absolute majority of states, local governments, senators, House of Reps members, and the leave and license to come to your land and appropriate all our resources as they bloody well wish. Is this what you want for yourself and your children? Your future, your children's future is at stake. If this is not what you want, then don't vote. Sit at home and your vote will be counted as a referendum rather than as acquiescence to self-injustice. It was once said that nobody can discriminate against you without your consent. It is as simple as that. If you allow discrimination, it will continue unless you rise up and you fight it. In apartheid South Africa, the effectiveness of boycott found eloquent expression in June 16, 1976, youth uprising in Soweto. But in the zoo, the youths are the ones taking selfies with those impoverishing them. How sad indeed. I published it. And in one of my accounts, Facebook banned me. I know it's the Yorubas working for Facebook, that it went against their community standard. Remind useless Nigerian youths that in 1976, June 16th, there was an uprising in Soweto by the youths. But in the zoo, the youths are all over the place, messing themselves up. Very, very sad indeed. The youths of Soweto extended the boycott of schools in South Africa to the boycott of elections. Before then, they had been applying soft resistance in their demand to be taught in their mother tongue. But all their efforts fell on deaf ears. It was only after June 16, 1976, Soweto uprising, that the world joined them in their demands, and the rest is now history. So if you join us in making sure that we boycott elections on the 16th, the world will now know that we are serious. You know, they accused me, and of course the wider IPOB family, that the reason why we are agitating for Biafra is because Jonathan lost elections. So what better way to prove to them that that is all rubbish? Because Peter Obi is the vice. So how are we going to stop now? We cannot stop now, for the very simple reason that we are not doing this for any human being. We are doing it for posterity. We are not even doing it for ourselves. We are doing it for our children yet unborn. If you want to be free, then you must sit at home on the 16th of February. Going out to vote means validating, or should I say revalidating, your slave status for the next 4 years. I told you 4 years ago that you will all regret voting. We canvassed for boycott 4 years ago, and we are boycotting for it today. We are canvassing for another boycott this very year because we are consistent. We don't change. The only way they can get us to change is to accede to our demands, and they're very simple. Very, very. So rather than coming to me asking me to lift the ban on boycott of elections, ask your masters, your Fulani masters, to meet my demands. It's as simple as that. Apartheid became history, and Nelson Mandela's 27-year incarceration achieved nothing for the oppressors. The same way that my imprisonment, the killing of Biafrans all over the place, will not give them the one Nigeria they so madly crave. It is impossible. For some of you who do not know, your land has been taken over. The Fulanis are emerging all over the zoo, all over the Sahel. And as I was saying to some people today, Nigeria, they can age only Sotranoko for the Fulanis. There is no country in the world ruled by Fulanis, only in the zoo, because Nigerians are foolish by nature. And because of the Yoruba man's fear and irrational hatred for the Igbo man. So it is far more better. A Yoruba man doesn't mind if he's being badly treated by a Fulani man, as long as an Igbo man is beneath him. So it doesn't really matter. So for the Yorubas, their main concern is to make sure that no Igbo man ever rises. And they have done a very clever job at that. Very clever job. Because what they do now is they come to our land and they select idiots for us. Umuokoko, train them through school. give them positions of power and influence, and then unleash them on us to be answering elites, intelligentsia, and leader. Meanwhile, even in Lagos, bring Abuja. How many Yoruba elite and intelligentsia live in Owerri or in Enugu? How many Arewa intelligentsia live in Igboacha? You see how foolish we are. We think we are sensible, but in actual fact, we know nothing. Time and again, boycott historically has proven to be a necessary tool of both active and passive resistance. I need not mention other nations which in the recent past has applied boycott as a means of expressing and achieving their demands for freedom. In my previous broadcasts, I had mentioned some of those nations, but I will not bother you with it this evening. But all I have to say is that in all these nations, the result is very clear for all to see. In the end, victory was achieved, as is going to happen in the case of Biafra. I have no doubt about that. I know some of us have trader mentality. Once you trade, you want your profit immediately. It has to be instant. If it is not there, then you give up. We have seen some of those in IPOB. They come and they go. Do we slacken our effort? The answer is no. We continue relentlessly to march towards our freedom. Even some that never knew that by nature they are traitors and saboteurs, they came to IPOB, they found out that by nature that they are evil people. We expelled some of them, and some of them left out of their own volition because they know that where we are, we remain whiter than white and whiter than snow. Nigeria's experience with election boycott in 1964 tells the same story. But they have banned history in your schools, and those won't teach you that in schools. Awolowo called for boycott of elections. Yoruba people were talking nonsense on Facebook. Just like some Yorubas we are saying, oh, Nnamdi Kanu, he ran to Israel. And do you know the funniest thing? That Wole Soyinka was also in Israel when Abacha was pursuing him. They never came to his house, but he ended up in Israel. But because Yorubas control the media, they use, you know, that sometimes our people, especially in Lagos and Abuja, they're one of the most useless set of people in the whole world. Because they always want to please Tunde, their friend. They want to be seen as belonging. So the only way they can be seen as belonging is to castigate their own people, to run their own people down, so they can find acceptability within their peers among the Yoruba flock. Or the Fulani flock, so to speak. Referendum is called a plebiscite. It is nothing new in the zoo. Some of you may be very shocked to know this. Do you know that Atiku Abubakar is from Cameroon? His area of Adamawa used to be in the Cameroon, and out of plebiscite they joined them to the zoo called Nigeria. Are you aware of that? No, you don't know. But now I'm telling you. They used to be part of Cameroon. They had a plebiscite, they had the common sense to join the zoo, Nigeria. Whereas our own cousins, you know how sensible we are, we Biafrans, we are so smart. At the end of the day, look at Ambazonia. They opted out, they said no, we want to be part of Cameroon. You know that thing, it's autonomy. They want to be autonomous from their own kith and kin. Today they are being slaughtered like cattle all over the place in Ambazonia. But the same plebiscite was held in Adamawa. Atiku Abubakar and his people chose to be Nigerians and not Cameroonians. Do you see how the wheel turns? So there's been referendum before and plebiscite. That was even how the the Midwest was formed. Some of you that know Midwest, the Midwest region in those days. We must also realize at this point in our struggle that's what this boycott essentially represents. Mobilization in all sections and within all nationalities in Biafra must be seen as a major part of our project, and this should involve also our professional groups, the academia, and our general populace. Our boycott of the presidential election is an indirect referendum, and therefore should be considered a major assignment between now and the 9th of 16th of February 2019. Nothing can be more powerful than the human spirit, especially when they all come together as one and in pursuit of the same goals and ideals. We as a people have the right and the duty to make these sacrifices, both moral and religious, not just for our own preservation in our time, but for the preservation of those who are unborn. That we are standing under a shade today means that somebody must have planted that tree very many years ago, or that nature decreed that it must be there. That is why we must continue relentlessly to ensure that the boycott is total and complete if you want the evil happening in the zoo to stop. Some of you don't know this, but I will tell you. Do you know that when DSS in Nigeria arrests anybody, they come to your house, they steal your private personal properties, even that belonging to your wife and your children? They take it to DSS headquarters in Abuja and they share it amongst themselves. They come to your house to arrest you for something and they carry your cars. They take your cars and they share it amongst themselves. Do you know that? That is the same country you want to go out. And I know that some people will say, oh, why don't you go out and vote for Atiku? He will change all of that. But you said the same thing, exactly the same thing about Jubril. Now Jubril, but then it was Buhari before his death. You have said the same nonsense about every incoming president till this very day. Nothing ever changes. So that is why sometimes I wonder if we black people are cursed. I don't know. If you take the recent experience of Justice Onoyen and others before him, you will understand that what is unfolding before us today is a grand agenda that is at least 200 years old. It is the grand design of the Caliphate founders, going all the way back to Othman Donfodio. It is a grand design that the gallant heroes of the January 15, 1966 revolutionaries tried to stop, but most people misunderstood them. It is a grand design that has been at the center of the trouble with the zoo called Nigeria. This is the grand design that confronts us all today as Biafrans. This is the grand design that must be defeated for the black man everywhere on this planet to finally be free, because it is true that in black Africa, or should I say that in Biafra, Africa died. And Africa can only rise up with Biafra. Even our enemies don't know this. I've been asking everybody all the time, do you know about any Fulani inventor that invented anything? The answer is no. How about a Fulani scientist? The answer is no. Is there any eminent Fulani scholar in secular studies, not in Arabic studies? The answer is no. Then I keep asking myself, why all this stampede all the time to elect a Fulani man when they have contributed absolutely zero to the advancement of the zoo called Nigeria? Only in Biafra will Africa resurrect, of course, by the grace and the power of Chukwokika Abiyama Brumi Henina. Uche, I know na video. I will not on video. And make clear my ban as I na video. This Radio Biafra. You know, we are slightly unorthodox. We do things differently from other people. We are coming to you live and direct on this second day of February in the year of the Most High Elohim 2019. The time now is 8 minutes past the hour of 6 p.m. here in the evening in London at our studios. My first broadcast for nearly 4 years from this very place. It is no secret that Jubril, whom some of you idiotically call Buhari, is the arrowhead of the unfolding grand design of the Fulani to dominate the whole of the Sahel region. If anyone is still in doubt as to this design, the recent rally in Kanu by Jubril, this rally attracted 2 serving Fulani governors from Niger Republic. Their attendance should send a very clear message to you. I also saw very early this morning Nuhu Ribadu trying to defend what is in essence indefensible, saying that people from the Sahel can come to the north without passport, without visa. They can do as they please. Essentially, most of them have houses in Niamey, which is the capital of Niger Republic, because that's where some of them come from. It has never been about Nigeria, but it is always about what is best for the Fulani from the beginning. Nnamdi Kanu never saw this. Mazi Uche saw it and warned him, but he refused. You know, he's an intellectual. He was an Igbo man, an intellectual. And he wanted to build this utopian Nigeria where there will be love, peace, and progress. But it is practically impossible. You can't have love, peace, and progress with people who do not understand the meaning of it. What are the implications of the activities of Jubril for the sovereignty of the zoo called Nigeria? We all know that Yoruba land, as we know it, extends into Dahomey in the present-day Benin Republic, and even to parts of Togo, where, incidentally, they speak Yoruba as a language. Can anyone imagine the angst that would have accompanied the alliance of mainstream Yoruba politicians with their counterparts in Benin Republic and Togo? All hell would have broken loose everywhere. Fulani would have complained from now to high heavens. Ironically, the Yoruba media is once again shamefully silent in their support and acquiescence to this very charade and breach of the supposed sovereignty of the zoo we call Nigeria. Fulani people are allowed to get away with all manner of excuses, all manner of nonsense, because they are in a position to subdue everybody they call a Nigerian. They occupy all sensitive positions, nobody is complaining. They have taken nepotism to a new level, nobody is complaining. Everything they dominate and they control, nobody is complaining. And all the Yoruba does is to say, as long as you give us the presidency in 2023, you can kill, you can loot, you can pillage, there is no problem. Fulani are being allowed to get away with these excesses because they have subdued everybody. Nigeria has effectively become a Fulani caliphate before our own very eyes. The undue influence of Yoruba Muslims in the affairs of Yoruba land will mark the end of them as a great race. I've said this and I'll keep saying it. The Yorubas, their punishment will come last, and it will be even far more devastating than that witnessed by any other ethnicity. They should mark my words. The Yorubas have not learned from history. The Afonja and Janta Alemi saga is still there. The Abiola humiliation is still there. Ironically, most people hardly learn from any of these past histories, even though we all know that history could easily repeat itself. We know that what the Fulani want, as they have been commanded, is to dip their Quran into the sea, and with the help of Biafran politicians, they are on their way to achieving that. They will plunder our resources like an invading force while enslaving everyone with the help of those that you call your leaders in Ohaneze and your governors, which incidentally they all planted themselves. Having overpowered most of Nigeria and brought them to their heels, Biafra land is the final target they have set their sights on as the only subsisting obstacle to their grand design. They are therefore converging on Biafra land like vultures. The vast hydrocarbon deposits in Biafra land, which is oil and gas for us, is seen by them as their gift from their great-grandfather Otman Domfodio and their God. Luckily for them, the so-called South-South political leaders are so naive that their impotency and misguided antagonism towards the Igbo has paved the way for complete caliphate domination of the Bight of Biafra. But everyone must go back to history and learn from it. Historically, the Fulani are enslavers. They had historically enslaved black people for the benefit of the Arab slave traders. They had almost historically raided numerous peace-loving communities and sent them into enslavement in the transatlantic slave trade for the Europeans. They are very poised to continue their old ways till this very day. The Hausa Yoruba, and several other ethnic groups who have progressively lost their lands to the Fulani can all learn from their history if they desire freedom. But freedom flows through the veins of every Biafran from historical times to the present times. That is one covenant that we have with Almighty Chukwukika Biama. That is why it was Biafrans who took it upon themselves to liberate enslaved Africans during the era of slavery in the Americas. That is why you cannot discuss any topic of liberation and attempted liberation during the enslavement of Africans in the Americas without talking about the Biafrans who led these liberation efforts. That is why Haiti could not be free until a Biafran, Dottie Botman, an Igbo man for that matter, led the Haitian Revolution against the French, a revolution that engendered the second independent country in the Western Hemisphere, second only to the United States of America in 1804. Leading to the eventual independence of the whole Latin America, with Biafran Haitians fighting in all these wars. That Biafrans liberated Haitians and other South Africans was why Haiti recognized Biafra. We abhor slavery. And on the 16th of February, we must make sure that the world understand that we have freedom coursing through our veins because Biafra must come. Remember that by 1904, the Fulani were busy enslaving other black people and also taking over their land, especially the houses. Biafrans at the same period were making sure that wherever black people were being enslaved, that they were liberated and regained their freedom with dignity. In other words, while the Fulani enslaved black people, Biafrans liberated them. Exactly what we are going to do on the 16th of February. In fact, this truism is one of the guiding logics of present-day IPOB self-determination activities. Freedom is the overriding value of Biafrans. Culturally and historically, that's how we are born, to be free. Freedom is what we offer the wonderful men, women, youth, and children of Biafra today. Freedom is what we offer the numerous ethnic groups who are still trapped in the damnable zoological republic. That is why we must boycott. That is why we must sit at home on the 16th. And that is why our referendum must be a success, because Biafra must be free. And I thank you all for listening to our broadcast this very evening from London. And I've asked you to be free from am I on camera? I'm not on camera, but I'm looking at myself here on the screen. As I said before, our deputy is here. Mazi Mefor is with me in the studios of Radio Biafra here. I used to think about these times, if it will ever come to pass, during my years of incarceration and assassination attempts on my life. So, Uche, do you have any questions for me? You said to me that some people are asking very difficult questions, so I want to know if there are any questions for me that people are asking that I would like to respond to.
Right.